Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Butt and Breneman Show. We are moving up in the world. We want to thank you for your support because, Adam, we are sponsored. And we'd like to thank our sponsors, the group, the family, our friends over at Dr. Pepper. We're going to have a fun segment later in the show. Shout out to Dr. Pepper. Adam, feels like a layup here. What's your favorite soda or pop?
Dr. Pepper.
Me too.
Of course.
Me too.
Jake, we made it officially. I even wore my Dr. Pepper colors today to represent.
Oh, I didn't put that together. You look great. I just thought you looked great, but that's good.
Thanks,
stuff
man.
right
Well,
there.
it's Dr. Pepper and their support of the show, their support of Butt and Breneman, but also to give Ohio State some credit too. I'm wearing my red today. I don't wear red very often, Jake.
That's what I thought you were going to do here. So perfect segue. Thanks for the assist. Let's talk about the big game last weekend. Ohio State takes down Texas. What a masterclass by Matt Patricia. I mean, gosh, all the storylines were going to be what's Arch look like, Ohio State's new quarterback, and it was really Matt Patricia and that Buckeye defense stole the show. I don't want to speak for you, but I kind of wanted to assist you back. What'd you think?
Matt Patricia was elite in this game. I thought the most interesting stat: Texas crossed midfield on 7 of their drives and only scored once. It's a masterclass in situational defense, in the bend but don't break defense. I thought the different looks that Matt Patricia was giving Arch Manning's head was spinning out there on third down. He didn't know what he was looking at, and neither did I. Some of the rotational,
didn't have a clue.
Blitzes they were bringing, the simulated pressures, how they were switching off man routes. So it was looking like man to man a lot, but they were playing zone concepts with man. That is NFL level stuff.
Yeah.
If there's a positive for Texas, it's that Arch Manning probably won't see a defense like that again the rest of the year.
No.
The complexity, the different looks. So for Arch Manning's first start, really tough for him. Matt Patricia was elite in this game. I thought the best players for Ohio State, Caleb Downs, played really well. And what they were able to do inside their own 40, that goal line stand, was the story of the game. It's why Ohio State won.
Arvell Reese. I mean, everyone wants to talk about Caleb Downs. I was blown away. I'm calling the Ohio State game this weekend, so I've had the luxury of watching that game like 5 times now. And Arvell Reese, I'm like starting the campaign now. All-American, was the best player on the field. I thought he was even better than Caleb Downs. Now, Caleb does some things. I think Caleb is the key to the complexity that's allowed to be called by Matt Patricia just because he's so smart. But Arvell Reese getting the starting job now, replacing Cody Simon, and then Jermaine Matthews in the back end starting over Denzel Burke from last year. Balled out, had an interception, nearly batted another one to Sonny Styles. But my goodness, man, I didn't know if I'm looking at cover 3. Am I looking at cover 1 with the robber? They're running versions of Tampa 2 invert. I'm like, they come out in a 5-man front with Caleb Downs playing the defensive end. I was just seriously blown away. And you kind of alluded to this too. It's like when an NFL guy comes down to college, the question is can you run an NFL system with college players when they only get so many hours a week? NFL's a job. And the Buckeye defense, thankfully for them, is full of NFL players and clearly smart, intelligent football players. To be that crisp and execute at that level with that complexity in week 1 against Texas, just absolutely outstanding. And then the goal line stand, like you said, man, that's a brand new D-line, the big question mark of Ohio State, and they bowed up and stopped them.
The most impressive piece is that this is Matt Patricia's first game as a defensive coordinator at Ohio State. So to get his defense and his players to actually understand the system and have the confidence to call it, it's a masterclass in teaching, in being a coach, and letting your players play fast and giving them schemes that they thrive in. I thought it was really remarkable. And the balance of the unit on defense too. The defensive front disrupted Texas's run game. The secondary allowed Matt Patricia to make those calls on defense, to bring pressure, to do some of the unique things. If you don't have a secondary you believe and trust in, you're not doing a lot of that stuff. So I thought it was really a well-balanced unit. And then, Jake, let's not look past Julian Sayin and what he did on offense for Ohio State. 13 of 20 passing, threw for 100-some yards. Nothing that pops off the page, but what stands out to me is how he managed the game against the number 1 team in the country. Most young
Mhm.
quarterbacks press in these moments, force balls, try to be a hero. Julian Sayin really did the opposite throughout this game. He played with the structure that Ryan Day wanted him to play with. He protected the football, never gave Texas a short field, made them earn everything they got. And that composure is why he's the first freshman quarterback I just saw in a stat in like 40 years to knock off the AP number one in his debut. It
Yeah.
was really a good job by Julian Sayin. And that performance, Jake, will give him the confidence of that locker room that he's no
Yeah.
longer a freshman now. This is his team. He earned it with that performance against Texas.
The stats lie too. I mean, 13 of 20 off the top of my head, 4 drops. I mean, Jeremiah Smith had 2 drops. That won't
Early
happen
on,
again.
too.
What's that?
Early on, the drops.
Early
Had,
on,
yeah.
Max Clare dropped a rope dime. I know it was right on the sidelines, but I mean, that was a 4th and 1 that was just ripped in right to his face mask. That would have been an explosive and a key pass. And then Brandon Innes on a slot fade on 3rd and 5. It was third medium. Julian dropped it in the bucket and he dropped it. And that would have been another explosive key pass. So, and Day said after the game, it was an intentionally simplified game plan, but he felt Julian, looking back on it, he's like, man, I think we could have put more on his plate. So I'm excited to see what that looks like going forward.
Jake,
You got another thing? Go for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I want to ask you before we move to the next topic. What do you think's the reason, after watching the film, that Jeremiah Smith hasn't really gotten going in these last 2 games against Texas? He hasn't really had the drop, as you said, maybe 2. I forget if he had a second one, but yeah, he kind of has been shut out a little bit from what we're used to seeing in these big games against Texas and or in the playoffs last year and this one.
I thought the playoffs was just a great game plan by Pete Kwiatkowski, Texas's defensive coordinator. He didn't go anywhere where he was going to be in one-on-one situations. He was doubled. This game, you have a combo of the drops.
Yeah.
There was a missed shot that I think that's when Julian went to Claire, but that would have been a big touchdown. And then also Pete Kwiatkowski had a great game plan against him once again. But the good thing is for Jeremiah to be such a big star, and I know every receiver I've ever been around wants the ball, and he has the best case to getting the ball of anyone, but he doesn't let it become a distraction, and that's why Ohio State has won these last 2 matchups.
Yeah.
Is it's a selfless offense.
Jeremiah Smith wasn't happy though when he was wide open on that running down the field and he threw it to Max
I wouldn't
Blair.
be either. Okay. But
he's a team guy, but he was like, oh, that one hurts. That one hurts.
The good thing for me calling the game this weekend, I'd expect they're going to make up for it. He might have
for sure
200 yards, but
yeah.
Excited to call that. All right. We got another rivalry game this weekend, Iowa State. Completely different identities here. Iowa ran for over 300 yards, one of the most dominating ground performances. I think their PFF grade offensive line was like over 95 or something insane, facing Iowa State with Rocco Becht at quarterback. Obviously, he willed his team to victory against the Hawkeyes last year with some explosive late game downfield passing. What's your thoughts on this one? Maybe tell me about what's different about a rivalry game here early in the season. How do you have to shift your mindset?
Yeah, it's unique to have a rivalry game in week 2 here for Iowa State. The good news for Iowa State is they have already played a big game in Kansas State in their week 0 matchup. So the mentality and the intensity gets going pretty quick in this one. I'm excited to see Iowa quarterback Mark Gronowski play. He's a guy who's had a great career, has transferred up to Iowa and has to kind of play that Iowa blueprint of not flashy, but control time possession, limit turnovers, and force your opponents into mistakes. I mean, Iowa ran the ball, 50 some times in their season opener.
Yeah.
Yeah. The issue though is Iowa has been really bad against ranked opponents, and they've been bad when teams can score efficiently. So the storyline to me in this one is whether Iowa's ground game can shorten the contest enough to steal it on the road, to steal it against Iowa State and Rocco Becht. So it's going to be a great matchup. It's exciting we get a rivalry like this, especially one as intense as Iowa State in week 2 of the college football season.
Yeah, I just which team's identity can kind of set the terms of agreement here. If Iowa can establish the run, if they can dominate the trenches and slow the game down, it's going to be tough for Iowa State to feel like they can overcome that. Possessions will be limited, and when you're a downfield passing team facing this Iowa defense, that's a tough way to win. And I really just believe that Iowa offensive line, they're going to be able to run the ball. It looked like Iowa State's trenches. It might be a tough matchup for them. And I think for Gronowski, Iowa's quarterback, like you don't just suddenly forget how to throw the ball. Like it was certainly a substandard opening weekend, and he acknowledged that in his post-game presser. Missed guys, but the Hawkeyes adjusted. I want to see him play confident and play free. Don't try to place the ball, throw the ball, be the quarterback.
Yeah.
Don't try to play quarterback, go be the quarterback. They don't need him to complete 20 passes, but 12, 11, 10 even completions, key completions would be great. And the good thing for the Hawkeyes, I think winning on the road, particularly in a rivalry game where there's emotions, the ability to run the ball settles everybody's tempo. It settles your nerves. It helps you get settled into the game. It takes the crowd out of it. That'll be a key matchup. So
Yeah.
any other thoughts?
I called one of Mark Gronowski's games when he was at Albany. I think it was last season or 2 years ago. It was in the FCS playoffs. So I got to see him up close and personal then. And he's a gunslinger, man. He's got really good arm talent. He has really good command of his offense. The players respect him a ton. I'm excited to see Iowa let its quarterback make some plays.
He's a good runner.
He's a good runner. You mentioned the season opener for Iowa. Yes, his performance was subpar, but they didn't ask him to do all that much. A lot of short throws, dink and dunked his way down the field. The run game rolled. And now I want to see Iowa State have to deal with those deep shots, the deep play action shots. Let Gronowski open up a little bit and give Gronowski early in the season, even though it's a rivalry game, some of that confidence to let him air it out. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. And if Gronowski's prepared, which I think he is for this highest level of college football.
Yeah, I mean, here's one good plus too is why a big reason Iowa lost last year's matchup is they gave up those explosives. The defense as a whole didn't force nearly enough turnovers. But at the Big Ten camp tour, I just kind of looked at their depth chart, and their entire two deep defensively is upperclassmen. It's like juniors, redshirt juniors, seniors, redshirt seniors. It's all guys that have played a ton of football in the Phil Parker system. Now there's a number of guys getting their opportunity to be the starter, but that should bode well in terms of understanding where they need to be to limit those explosives. Okay, we got something explosive coming your way. We got the Fansville hype man moment right here, Adam. And I want you to kind of tell me, we got a few big games this weekend. Which fan bases from which schools should be excited going into this big weekend?
Well, the fan base with the most to be excited about is Illinois. Illinois, Duke. Can Illinois prove that they are a real top team in the Big Ten? All the hype of the offseason, all the excitement. This is the first game to really prove it. I mean, Illinois hasn't been this highly ranked since the early 2000s. They're riding a winning streak. And now you have your veteran quarterback, Luke Altmaier, against a Duke secondary that gave up almost 400 yards passing last week, Jake. This is a real opportunity for Illinois to solidify itself as one of those top teams in the conference. Illinois has been known in the last couple of years, has played really good defense in balance, but to me, the key in this game is Altmaier opening it up through the air a little bit to show that Illinois has that offensive dimension to dominate and make a run in the Big Ten. You're going to have to score a ton of points. So Altmaier's played a lot of games. He's an experienced quarterback. That's the matchup I'm watching this weekend and want to see if Illinois can do it at a high level against a Duke team that struggled on defense last week.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, honestly, it's a must-win game. I mean, there's a few early season that feel like playoff games. This is one of them. Then you got Indiana here coming up in a few weeks for the Fighting Illini. But yeah, balance is the key word. I think Elon, the College of Elon. I don't even know if they're University of Elon or Elon University, whatever it was. They found a ton of rushing success against Duke's defense. I'm like, what the heck? Like, what's going on here? So it was a balanced opening game for Illinois. They were able to throw the ball around with some of those new receivers. The run game came alive. It sounded like Brett Bielema was not happy with the right guard performance. I think he said we got a starting right guard trying to lose his job or something like that at his halftime presser. So can the offensive line protect and establish the run? That's always the key. And defensively, it's just doing exactly what you said there with Aaron Henry as the defensive coordinator. It seems like he's got more and more comfortable every year. It's going to take everybody. That's what these big games are about. I'll give you my Fansville hype man moment. And of course, I'm biased, but you knew where I was going to go
Oh,
with this
here we
one.
go.
It's the University of Michigan. It's all the students, all the alum. It's going to take everybody. You're going on the road to Oklahoma to Sharon Moore's alma mater. Come on, baby. Two programs though, seriously, that are like, it's kind of like when they look across the sideline, it's like they're looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Michigan, both programs are proud historical programs. Obviously, Michigan has the national title and a great run recently, but last year neither could get any offense going. It's the same thing. It's with a true freshman quarterback, new look offense. They look great week one. Here's the chance you win this one. And if Bryce Underwood looks good on the road against a Brett Venables defense, man, think about what that's going to do for his confidence and this team's confidence going forward. I'll give you this. Brett Venables, since he became the head coach at Oklahoma, the Sooners defense has blitzed or sent pressure at like a top 15 to top 20 rate. That's going to be a great test for Bryce Underwood. Understanding where his pressure's coming from, where is he hot? That's also true for the receivers and tight ends. Everyone has to be on the same page. Then on the flip side, facing John Mateer, you look at his career, he has struggled when facing pressure. Wink Martindale sends a ton of pressure. The plus is Mateer is a playmaker. His legs come alive. So having disciplined rush lanes, you don't just want to send a bunch of crazy pressure from anywhere. You want it to feel like the pocket is collapsing on him. So discipline wins on the road. Of course, Michigan's going to have to run the ball. But you got any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, Bryce Underwood in his debut looked about as good as you could have asked for against New Mexico. I mean, no turnovers, made some big throws. The throw on 3rd and 14 looked really good. But Oklahoma, Jake, is the kind of environment that exposes young quarterbacks. As you just said, Brett Venables' defense, the disguised coverages, the pressures that they will bring to rattle Underwood is going to really test them. And I'm excited to see, does Bryce Underwood have the same poise and composure when the reads aren't quite as obvious and the pocket collapses a little bit faster against Oklahoma? But if he can hit some of those explosive throws like he did in week one, if he can flip the field, if he can make some of those plays down the field, he'll prove that Michigan has a real difference maker at quarterback and has kind of solved that issue they've had in the last season. And the future will look very bright for Michigan, especially on offense, which is where the biggest liability has been. So it's a great test for Bryce Underwood. It's a huge game. It's a game Michigan has to win.
Bryce, key stat. PFF had him average time to throw. So from the snap to when he releases the ball was like 2.4 seconds, it was one of the best in college football. And to me, all that's saying is he's seeing the game well. Not only is he seeing the game well, but he's trusting what he's seeing. And Chip Lindsey has prepared him. And then the talent just completely comes alive. The guy's really, really talented. His legs are also a viable option that we didn't see last week. So that's something else. You know what, Adam? Why don't you give me a score prediction? Why don't I kick it to you this week? Michigan, Oklahoma, ranked matchup. Why don't you give me a score prediction?
I have Michigan in this game. I think Bryce Underwood gets it done, and then the hype train just go. It gets the Arch Manning level hype train for Bryce Underwood. I'm gonna go Michigan 27-21.
Ooh. High scoring. That was higher than you
I think we get
for...
some points in this one. I think we get some points. I mean, not ultra high scoring. I'm assuming
high scoring. If teams are bringing pressure, that's when explosive happens. So I could see it getting there. I'll do a 21-17 Michigan, a close one. So it's going to test the resolve of the young quarterback Bryce Underwood, but I think he's built for it. I think he's got the resolve. So
yeah,
be a fun one nonetheless.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick.
Hey man, that's fun. Shout out to our sponsors, Dr. Pepper. Shout out to our producer, our Mr. Everything, Alex Rue, for getting this deal done. Working hard all throughout the offseason. Great job all around, and great job to our viewers and fans. We appreciate you guys in all the comments. Seriously, maybe ask us some questions. Ask Adam some any question you want down in the comments, and we'll get to it next week on the Butt and Breneman Show. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate it.